Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. What's up, you guys? You're listening to the Calm Mom Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm so grateful you're here. I'm so glad you decided to tune in today because we're going to talk about one of my favorite things to talk about. And that's how and why we kind of get stuck in this fight or flight mode, where we're feeling anxious or burnt out or worried or irritable or edgy or what have you. Even though we're just like sitting on the couch or answering emails or trying to make dinner, right? Even though we're actually safe. Now, if you're thinking, but Michelle, like, I know that I'm safe. I have a good job. My family's safe. I have a roof over my head. I have people who love me. Like, why is my body still, stuck in the throes of anxiety and dread? And it just feels like there's a war zone going on in my mind at times. Girl, this one's for you. So we're going to talk about 3 reasons why your body might be stuck in fight or flight, even when everything in your life is quote unquote fine, right? You're not under an actual threat of danger to your physical safety, and how to help your body and your brain rewire for that safety. So before we jump in, if you have not yet left the Calm Mom Podcast a 5-star rating or a short review, would you do so today? That would just mean so much to me. I always love hearing from you guys. I value your feedback so much. I want to make sure I'm always providing content that is helpful and giving you guys practical handles. And when you give the show a 5-star rating and a short review, it's the best way that other women just like you, other moms, other business owners, other community leaders can learn these tools to regulate their nervous systems and also show up more powerfully in their calling. So you're really just a part of spreading this message and this mission when you leave the show a 5-star rating and a short review. So if you could do so today, thank you. Okay, let's talk about, let's like kind of back up a little bit and talk about a refresher on how our nervous system functions at its most basic level, right? Your nervous system's primary job, always, every day, since the beginning of time till the end of time probably, is to keep you alive, right? Your nervous system is constantly scanning your environment. It's like you're wearing this little scanner on your forehead, right? And it's just constantly gathering information and kind of looking ahead of you and taking it all in, all the external things like your surroundings, right? And then all the internal things like the things you're thinking and all your internal sensations. It's kind of like your own little personal, security team, right? But here's the catch. Your nervous system is not just scanning what's happening now in the present moment. It's also like rummaging through this library within you, this database within you of all your past experiences. So if you grew up, let's say with parents or caregivers or some sort of authority figure in your life who was super critical, let's say, your nervous system got the memo as it was forming, as it was gathering that information in those really formative years, that criticism is not good, right? Criticism equals danger. Criticism equals, a threat of approval being taken or love being taken. So now, it's not your parents anymore. Maybe now it's like your boss or your partner. And they say something like, hey, can we chat? Hey, can you stop by my office on your way in? Hey, can we talk when you get home? And, it's just a text, but your body goes into like this full blown panic attack and it's like abort mission, right? This is not safe. This isn't going to be good. Criticism equals danger. Even if your boss just wants to like give you a bonus, right? We can dream. This is where our perceived threats come into play. That fight or flight response, it gets triggered by anything that resembles that old unresolved threat. Anything that sounds like it, looks like it, feels like it, smells like it, in any way resembles it. So in our, modern world in this day and age, we're not running from actual threats, right? I'm not running from lions and tigers and bears. It's like a one-liner email. It's, a look from a coworker. It's our kids whining. It's, a text from our partner that just says like, I think that was out of line when you mentioned that, or we need to talk or whatever. And I know that you're like, even if you're listening to this, you're like, okay, I get it. My system is like basically stuck in the past. I'm an adult now. Like, why can't I just tell myself that, I'm not 8 anymore, dealing with a really hypercritical mother, everything is fine. And it brings us to reason number 1, why your body might be stuck in fight or flight. And it's this: your nervous system speaks a different language than your mind. Right? Your nervous system doesn't speak the same language as your mind. Your nervous system doesn't speak a verbal language. There's a difference between our cognitive processes and then a felt sense in our body, right? So let's like break this down. We have our thinking mind, right? That's our logical part. That part of us, our logical part, is like, we're safe. This is no big deal. We've got this. We don't need to be anxious about this. I know it's irrational to worry about this. I don't know why this is annoying me so much, right? That's our rational, logical mind. But our body, the part of us that's actually stored away all of this information over time, is like, nope. Remember that old scenario? Remember that one time when, right? Remember when you embarrassed yourself? Remember when you got in trouble for this? Remember when you got yelled at for this? Remember when your parents sat you down and were like, we're disappointed in you, right? Your body's like, we're definitely not safe. And your body's going to override your mind every time, because we know about the afferent nervous system. 80% of the messaging is starting in your body, sending messages up to your brain. Only 20% of the messaging in your body starts in your mind. So your body's always going to override. And it's not that you're overreacting. It's just that your system, your nervous system, your body does not understand logic. What does it understand? It understands sensations, emotions, movement, breath, nonverbal cues. Those are the language of your body. So in other words, you guys, this is like a show and tell kind of thing. It's actually show versus tell kind of thing. You have to show your nervous system that you're safe, not just like reciting positive mantras or affirmations or like trying to talk yourself into it, reminding yourself that you're fine. Affirmations can be lovely, whatever. But if your body's still stuck in the memory of this wasn't safe, this didn't feel good, this didn't make me feel loved, this isolated me, this embarrassed me, whatever, words alone are not going to override that, right? That's why you still feel anxiety when you see that Slack message come through from your boss being like, please come to my office. Even though you intellectually know that you guys have a great relationship and everything's likely okay, your system is scanning for anything that even remotely echoes an old threat, you guys, like that parent or that teacher who used to, shame you in front of everyone, right? And then your body is just kind of flipping that danger switch. All right, so let's talk about these 3 reasons that you might still be stuck in fight or flight. The first reason is a database of past experiences, right? We talked about this briefly. Let's kind of go into it a little bit more. Reason number 1, why you're stuck in fight or flight, is that you're living based on past data that just hasn't been updated. Like your nervous system is like your iPhone that's just never been allowed to install the new operating system update, right? We have this old database. It's loaded with every scenario and instance and experience where you felt somewhat threatened, uncomfortable, like people were coming at you, right? Physically, emotionally, or psychologically. And these experiences, these things that you experienced that were not comfortable, that didn't feel safe or loving, those got logged into your system as quote unquote evidence that the world isn't safe, right? This experience isn't safe. So now you might see maybe like the mildest sign of potential conflict, right? A friend texts you back, we need to talk. Or someone gives you like a side eye when you make a comment. And what happens? Your body flips out as if this is a real emergency that's happening, right? So your body's just like assessing every single situation that you're in, everything that happens to and around you. And it's just like, this could go sideways, and it thinks it's protecting you, right? Your body's like read the manual on what danger might look like. And anything that remotely fits that old description just sets off the alarms in your brain. Think about that earlier example, right? We talked about kind of having lots of criticism in childhood. If you faced constant disapproval, super high standards, shame, like even that like subtle shame, like, oh, we thought you should have been able to get straight A's, right? Or, oh, you didn't get captain of the basketball team, or, oh, you didn't get first chair in the flute section, or, whatever kind of stuff, right? These like subtle digs, our body stores that away as being judged, and that's a threat. So any sign of potential judgment now in adulthood, right? 20, 30 years later, maybe even more, might shoot us into that fight or flight response. So here's the key takeaway here. Your nervous system, honestly, it's not trying to sabotage you. It's just really good at its job of protecting you. The problem is that it's working off of this kind of old, outdated information. All right, so what do? We're going to talk about it in a second. But first, let's go over the second reason why you might be stuck in fight or flight, even though you're actually safe. The second reason is that our nervous system does not understand logic. We cannot outthink our nervous system, right? When we experience any sort of perceived threat, so that's anything happening that our nervous system is like, oh, that reminds me of when this used to happen in childhood, or, oh, that reminds me of a time that someone said this and that didn't go well for me, or I was embarrassed, or I felt shame, or whatever. When we experience any sort of perceived threat like that, our brain's emotional and survival centers, our limbic system and our brainstem, they just light up like the 4th of July. Meanwhile, our logical part of our brain, our prefrontal cortex, that part shuts down. That's offline, you guys. When our brain experiences a threat, the logical part of our brain shuts down, offline. So maybe you're trying to tell yourself things like, calm down. I know this is going to work out. It's not a big deal. I should just like not think about this until I get home. This is going to be okay. I'm safe, right? All the things that we tell ourselves when we've done all this mindset work and affirmations and all that. But every part of you from the neck down, right, is going, we've been here before. We've seen this before. This didn't go well. This was a nightmare. And our body says no, because it's our nervous system that's responding to a felt sense, right? Our muscles tense up, our heart rate changes and increases, right? Our breathing pattern changes. So the key here, if we can't use words and logic to tell our body like, hey, this actually isn't a big deal, how do we do so? We do so with felt senses of safety, right? The key to create new, and we call these disconfirming experiences, is we have to teach our body like, hey, wait, hold on a moment, hold the phone. This situation is actually okay, right? Watch. We're going to do this and I'm going to prove to my body that this is okay, right? I didn't die. I didn't get humiliated. I survived. I actually have the tools to like talk things through with people. It didn't go worst case scenario. Maybe I can trust this, right? Those are disconfirming experiences. We're actually rewriting the script. We're rewriting that old data in our nervous system and disconfirming what our body's expecting is going to happen and showing it that there are alternate realities, right? There are alternate possibilities. And over time, if you get enough of these disconfirming experiences and they pile up, that gently rewrites your old database. That's why when everything in our body is screaming no, sometimes we still have to push through that, right? Sometimes our breakthrough is just on the other side of that because we have to continue to prove to our body that this is safe. And that's why you might be feeling so on edge, right? Even though you cognitively, like, quote unquote, get it, you've talked about it, you've worked it through, you've planned, you've journaled, you all the things. It's why understanding alone is not going to shift your body's stored survival mechanisms. It requires your body to have this physical, felt sense of safety, an experiential sense of safety. And that can't be forced and that can't be rushed, right? You have to have those disconfirming experiences, proving to your body, hey, we survived. This was okay. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And that gently rewrites your old database. And then let's talk about the last reason. Reason number 3 today that we're going to talk about why you may be stuck in fight or flight, even though you're actually safe, is that your nervous system needs to, quote unquote, see new outcomes, right? You got to offer your nervous system a show, not a tell approach. That's what I said earlier. It's like, it's not show and tell. It's like show instead of tell, show versus tell. When we're talking about the nervous system, it's all about these disconfirming experiences. So think about it. When your nervous system believes, like, let's say your nervous system believes this: when I speak my mind, I get punished, right? Let's say you grew up in a home that you were, meant to be seen and not heard. You couldn't disagree. You couldn't talk back. Even if you were being respectful, that was seen as disrespectful, right? You couldn't offer your own opinions, especially if they were different than your caregiver's opinions. And that kind of reinforced this belief in you really early on that when I speak my mind, I get in trouble, right? When I speak my mind, I get punished. When I speak my mind, someone gets upset or no one listens. You have that built-in belief system now, and it's probably unconscious, right? It's beneath your conscious awareness, at least. Now you have to show it, not tell it, show it in real life that speaking your mind can be safe. This is how you rewire your brain, right? You have to show your brain, show your body that speaking your mind might even be liberating. And it doesn't mean you go from 0 to 100 overnight, right? You can titrate this. It's all about this slow, gentle exposure. We don't want to cause additional trauma to our nervous system. But just think about it in the context of relationships, right? If you've ever had the experience of like warming up to a new friend over time, what happened, right? Maybe you're not the type of person who sits down when you just meet someone and like spills your deepest, darkest life secrets and gets really deep and all this stuff. Like, no, we don't do that. But over time, we warm up and over time, we trust. And that happens because our nervous system gradually realizes, hey, this is someone that can be trusted. Hey, this is someone who listens. Hey, this is someone who I can let my guard down around and they're not going to take advantage of my vulnerability, right? It wasn't your brain telling you that they were trustworthy. It was these small repeated interactions that built that sense of safety. The next thing is about building capacity. That's the magic word here, you guys. It's capacity. Every time you face this small, like, quote unquote threat, right? Sending out that email that feels vulnerable, setting a boundary, right? Posting a reel on social media, having an honest conversation. Like every time you do something that makes you kind of want to throw up and it actually goes okay, right? Something that stretches your boundaries and your edges and it feels really expansive for you and like kind of makes you want to crap your pants and it goes okay. Like you don't pass out, you survive. What happens? Your nervous system logs that as new information and is like, we didn't die. Noted. And over time, those experiences, they stack up and your nervous system starts to relax more quickly, trusting that not everything is like the monster under the bed, right? So how do we do this? How do we actually create disconfirming experiences, right? What does it actually look like to show your nervous system that it's safe? Show versus tell. Show instead of tell, right? Let's talk practically because we're all about real world steps here at the Calm Mom. I'm going to give you 5. 1, you're going to identify a small edge. So you can probably think of something right now that just feels like a little bit uncomfortable. Like maybe it's not terrifying, but it's like, I'd rather not, right? I'd rather not like tell my friend that I can't actually go to happy hour on Friday. I'd rather just go and, not cop out. Or I'd rather not like send that email that I've been avoiding saying, or like let go of that team member that I've been avoiding. Or like, I'd rather not, disagree, even though my brother-in-law keeps saying like something really like really out of line and inappropriate, and I just kind of sit there and no one says anything. Like, I'd rather not. We all have things like that. Uncomfortable, but not like terrifying. Maybe it's just starting a tough conversation. Maybe it's like disagreeing with someone or something. Maybe it's sharing your voice. Maybe it's letting something be published and put out into the world, into the ether that's not perfect, right? Trying out a new hobby. You're not great at it. Like, that feels vulnerable, but it's not terrifying. The key here is to choose something that's like a small incremental step. Now, this is the second part. Prepare your body. Before you like actually do the thing that's uncomfortable but not terrifying, do a quick body check, right? What's going on in your body? Are your shoulders like so tense and tight that they're like squeezed up by your ears, right? How's your breathing? Is it like quick and shallow? Just a quick body scan, and then do a simple grounding technique. Maybe it's a hand on your chest. Maybe it's a few deep, slow breaths. Maybe it's just orienting yourself to where you are, right? Maybe it's some movement, some shaking or some jumping jacks or something to just like let some of that energy discharge and cue to your system that it's okay. And then go do it. That's the third thing. Go experience it. Go do it, right? Have the conversation, post the content, speak up at the meeting, whatever it is. And then just notice what happens in your body. If you feel that like wave of anxiety, it's okay. See if you can stay present with it rather than avoid it and shut it down, and remind yourself that you're physically safe. And then afterward, take a second to just reflect, right? What happened, right? Did the worst case scenario happen? Probably not, right? Let your body feel that. Feel the safety. Feel that disconfirming experience. Hey, we thought this would be really bad, and it was actually like, it was like a 2 out of 10. It wasn't bad. We often like skip that part and just go right to the part where it's like, oh my gosh, like, and then we go on to the next worry. But instead, I want you to take a moment to like consciously log it in, like consciously anchor that in, consciously store that away in your database. And it's like, I did X and I survived, right? I can do it again. And then just rinse and repeat, you guys. That's the fifth part. Just rinse and repeat. Keep doing it. And that's how you rewrite that old database. That's how you rewrite that old patterning. Consistency is everything with the nervous system, you guys. It loves patterns. Our nervous system loves patterns because patterns are predictable and patterns are safe. So if you show your nervous system a consistent pattern of safety in these like once scary, once cringy scenarios, your nervous system is going to start to believe that they're actually safe. Okay? Now, if you're like, yeah, but this seems like time consuming, guess what? Nothing about healing your nervous system or your body or your ways of being or your patterning or rewiring your brain is a quick fix. It's just true. So maybe that old hustle mode in you might want to fix your like fight or flight yesterday, but your system doesn't function on that timeline. Okay. So I want you to really intentionally allow yourself to build this capacity gradually. Every little step you take that builds your capacity, every step in the right direction, every action that promotes growth, everything you do that's a little bit scary but not terrifying is building your capacity. And that capacity is really just a fancy way of saying like, how much stress, discomfort, emotion, how much can I hold before my nervous system freaks out and throws me into a stress response? And then over time, you guys, with repeated gentle exposure to safety, that expands your capacity. You're not forcing your body to do something it's not ready for, right? You're not doing something terrifying. You're stretching it little by little, right? You're teaching your body through these direct experiences. Hey, you can actually handle a little bit of this. You can actually handle a little bit more of this stress without sounding the alarm. And then if something feels overwhelming, scale it back, you guys. There's no shame in scaling it back, going slower, right? In fact, slower is often faster when it comes to healing. Slower is often faster when it comes to real lasting change because you're not re-traumatizing yourself. You're actually trusting your body to heal at its own pace. Okay. If you guys want more tangible ways to start shifting like these felt senses that we're talking about of fight or flight patterns, go ahead and grab my free nervous system reset guide in the show notes. There's a link to it. It's designed to help you understand your body's language. And then there are a few practices, daily micro moments of regulation that you guys can start working with. You can kind of think of it as your cheat sheet for this show, not tell approach that we've been talking about. Okay, so go ahead and grab that. There's a link in the show notes. All right, so those are the 3 reasons you might be stuck in fight or flight, even though you logically know that you're safe, right? First is that your nervous system relies on a database of past experiences. You just haven't updated that software with new evidence yet, but you will. And then second is your nervous system doesn't speak logic. It speaks body language, felt experiences, right? Repeated signals of safety. And then third is that your nervous system just needs these new disconfirming experiences. You have to gently lean into these small challenges, let your body learn like, hey, this isn't dangerous after all. Because remember, you're not broken, right? You're not like weird or off or feeling edgy when life seems fine. Your nervous system's just doing its job, maybe even a little too well, right? But with consistent, gentle practices, you guys, you can teach it a new way of responding to stress with these disconfirming experiences, repatterning your brain, proving to yourself instead of telling yourself that something is safe. And that's where the real freedom lies. All right. Thank you so much for being with me today. As always, I just hope you guys found this helpful. Don't forget to go and download the Nervous System Reset Guide if you haven't yet. If you're looking for more hands-on practices to calm your body, rewire that old fight or flight loop. And until next time, just stay patient, stay curious, stay kind to yourself, and remember that safety is a show, not tell. All right, my friends, I love you all so much. I'll talk to you guys soon. Be well.
If you love Mommy's Polygraphs, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.